You're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox on KLOS. That was Rod Stewart. Every Picture Tells a Story from the album Every Picture Tells a Story. One of my favourite albums of all time. And it is 10 after 12 bells on a Monday.
Yes.
And we're here with my guest, Steve Perry.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm doing good. Nice to see you.
Very nice to see you. I'm glad you... Thanks a lot for coming by.
Yeah, my pleasure.
You got a new album.
I got a new album out.
Traces.
Yep.
Out this Friday, October 5th.
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing a lot of press for it?
Yeah, just traveling around talking about the record, how it came about, how I thought someday it would never come.
Yeah.
But here it is, yeah.
Was this over a long period of time?
Not really. Once life sort of had its way with me and taught me some good lessons about that a heart really isn't complete until it's completely broken. That's when music came back, and I built a studio, started rocking a bit, started writing some reunion songs and some happy songs, sad songs, and just it all opened up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you co-write?
I do. We should do it sometime. We talked about that one time at a party. I remember that party. We talked about that. We should do that. That would be fun.
Oh, Cantrell's place.
Yeah, yeah.
So you were just in London or England? Were you traveling?
I was in London. I did all sorts of press, all the BBCs that are available, including BBC Breakfast and in Manchester, and lots of press. Yeah, I loved it. The time turnaround just about killed me, though.
The worst.
Oh, the worst. My
Jet
God.
lag, forget it.
I told somebody that manager that works for me, I says, I remember back in the day, I actually was on a long run, if you know what I'm talking about, some stimulus stuff that I felt not quite as bad as I did that day.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's rough, no sleep that many days in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, going there, I find jet lag a lot worse than coming this way.
Why is that, you think? Is it our age?
I don't know. I don't know.
I hope not. For us, I hope.
I actually avoid going to Europe for that fact that I can't stand. It makes me all vulnerable and weird.
See,
jet lag.
Wow. See, I feel better because I thought it was just me. It was really rough on me this
Yeah.
time. It was. But once I got a good night's sleep, man, I felt like I was in London and I wanted to see everything. I just wanted to hang,
Did you have good weather?
Oh,
when you were
beautiful weather. I brought the sunshine. They all own me now.
there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you quite popular in Europe?
It's funny. We didn't tour much over there, and that was kind of, I guess, your fault. You want to know how I tied that together?
Go on.
Well, because in about 1979, 1980, around that area, that's sort of your zone, right?
77, 76, 77.
See, it is your fault. Let me tell you why.
Well, you guys, though, were going... When did you guys really start taking off?
In America, we were taking off 78, 79, 80, and we were doing 5 to 10,000 seaters. But in Europe, there was no internet. There was nothing. You had to start wherever you were.
Yeah.
So there was like 60 people capacity clubs, tops. So here we are playing all these punk clubs, Jonesy.
Oh, man, they must have loved you.
Oh, can you imagine? Here I'm doing Wheel in the Sky, and they're spitting at my shoes. Okay, so I come off the stage. This is your fault. This is where it gets your fault. Okay, you punkers. Okay, so then I said to the record executive, so what's with the spitting? He says, that means they love you. I said, I don't feel that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there it is.
It means they love you. I think it goes both ways, that spit. They just spit wherever they go, whoever's on the stage. But that's ironic because, as you know, I was a fan of Journey.
I know, and you so cleverly concealed it.
And I couldn't tell anybody.
Of course you couldn't, no. Because your mates would really... They wouldn't let you live it down.
They would lynch me. They would lynch me.
Not that music.
Yeah. I don't know, man. For me, your trueness, you like something when you hear it, regardless of if it's cool or uncool or you're doing something else. But I get it. When you're young, you kind of have to be,
Yeah. You have to be true to what you're doing. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was a big fan. Journey, Boston. And I don't know what I said in the book, but there's this one time when I was in Chicago with this other band, The Professionals,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in this. We were playing there. I was a mess. I
Mm.
was like, you know, I was either kicking heroin or I was on heroin. And when I was kicking heroin, the way I dealt with it was being drunk all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only, because you know, I didn't have any. There was no proper detox. I
Mhm.
just used to, you know,
Yeah.
kick cold turkey.
That makes sense.
With booze.
Yeah.
So I'm in this big hotel in Chicago. Yeah, it was Chicago. It was raining crazy. I'm up on like a 30th floor looking out, and it's just grey and raining. And I had the cassette player, you know,
Mhm.
with the ear.
Yeah, the
with
Walkman, the little Walkman.
Yeah,
they
like
just
a-
come out. Yeah.
yeah, and I had your album on it,
Mm.
and I just remember Don't Stop Believing,
Mm.
and it was like it was such a thing.
Mm.
It was such a thing, man.
It's so great to hear you say that. That means a lot to me. It
'Cause
really
I-
does.
'Cause it was, I can't put my finger on it other than I used to play that album all the time.
Yeah.
And I still didn't tell anyone else what I was playing. And this was after this was just, you know, it's still kind of going on, but it was a real moment. That hotel, the rain, 30th floor, headphones, listening to that song.
Yeah. Wow. That sounds nice to me right now, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a trip. It was a trip. Anyway, I don't know if I told you the exact story. I mean, I was still a fan other than that, but that was
Right.
a moment in time
Right.
that where it kind of really registered, you know.
Mm. Wow.
But that's did you write that song?
Well, that song was written by all of us in a Oakland warehouse. I mean, I remember turning to John Kane and saying, you know, we don't have anything with that kind of quarters on the piano. And I've always loved a lot of songs that were started that way. And so he started doing some chords on the piano, and here comes, you know, some changes. And the next thing I know, I'm singing some, you know, just a small town girl sort of melodies. And then when it came to the streetlight section, I remembered being in Detroit, and we had just finished a show on the previous tour, and I was in the top floor of our hotel looking downtown, right across from Cobo Arena back at that time, and I'm looking down, and the lights were lighting up the entire streets from the top down, and I thought it was just fascinating to see the glow of the streets without seeing the street lights and the people milling around at 2-3 in the morning, you know. So I thought, well, there's like street light people. They look like this thing called street light people.
Yeah.
So when we got back, you know, and started writing music, that came up, and I wanted to put that in there.
Yeah.
So living just to find emotion hiding somewhere in the night, you know. But you know, I've been talking to people. That song, as you know, got as much attention as the rest of them did.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that one got some special attention, or we
Yeah.
had a clue that it would stick around or
Yeah.
be embraced by people. It just was something people voted into their hearts. But really, all the songs back in that era, no matter what they were, all got the same amount of heartfelt emotional contribution from us.
Yeah.
The time just changes their joy for it, you know.
Yeah. And that was a big when it was in the movie, the Monster.
It was in the movie Monster that Charlize Theron and Christina Ricci was in.
It was played,
And, yeah.
played so well.
Well, that's Patty Jenkins. Patty Jenkins wrote that, directed, edited, and she had written that into the script in that skating rink scene. And that's how I met Patty, actually. She had asked for that song to be in the film. That's how
Yeah.
we first met.
Yeah.
She's a
Amazing.
wonderful, really talented girl.
Yeah.
Doing Wonder Woman and now doing another one.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Did you when you were you did like massive stadiums in the States, right?
We did, yeah.
What was that like? Was you a mess then?
Not really too much of a mess because I never partied before or during
Yeah.
a performance because I could not sing.
Yeah.
The throat would constrict and shut down.
Yeah.
You know, but after the show, I'll see you at the sound check the next day.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, that's where it would kick in for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before I'd even get back to the dressing room, somebody's job was to hand me a large Dixie cup full of Chardonnay to get started.
Chardonnay, only the finest.
Yes. Being Portuguese, we go for the wino side.
Is that what you are, Portuguese?
Yeah, Portuguese.
So you speak Brazilian then?
Well,
It's not Brazilian.
it's Portuguese. My family's from the Azore Islands, so my Portuguese is different from the dialect of other islands. and different from the mainland, which is, Lisbon. Man, they speak like proper Portuguese in Lisbon. But my Portuguese is more like if I say, Ora pá, que estás fazendo? That means, hey, kid, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You see, it's got a ring. It
Yeah.
sounds like you're singing.
Yeah, it's a great dialect.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's Portuguese,
Mm-hmm.
but when I hear the Brazilians talk, it's got a great ring. I love the accent.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I've only sang in Portuguese a couple of times on a couple of demos, and I've got them stashed.
Is it hard to make a cool song singing in Portuguese?
It was a song I wrote for my mother, and I just wrote it to her, and it's called Minha Joia, and I've never released it yet. And it's easier to sing, actually, like most, I think, because the European vowels are different, and you can hold the vowel for a long time.
Yeah.
Instead of you say more with less, I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah. You ever heard of that guy, Sir George?
No.
Oh, we'll have to play one of his songs, Mr. Shovel. We'll play that. He's do you ever see the movie Aquatic with Life Aquatic?
Life Aquatic, no.
Did you ever see that Wes Anderson movie? Anyway, this guy, he's in it, Sir George, he's a Brazilian guy, and he does all Bowie songs, like in that style, like what do they call it? The Brazilian kind of style.
Yeah, like what is his name? Jonesy, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Really good. Should we play a track off your new
Oh, I'd love that.
record?
What are you going to play?
No More Crying.
Oh, that's Booker T on the front end of that.
Yeah?
Yeah, from Booker T and the MGs. Yeah, and Tom Flowers on guitar, and Vinny Caluto on drums. Yeah, there's some good players on this one.
And did you record it?
Yeah, I have a studio in my house. Yeah, I
you did it all
built a
there?
full-fledged studio.
Wow.
Yeah, and have all this outboard gear I've collected over the years, and some new stuff, and
Yeah.
mics included.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. That was a
Excuse
good
me.
one.
Yeah, I was just
Nice.
just warming up.
That was a nice push.
You're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox with my guest Steve Perry. Here's a track off his new album Traces that's out this Friday, October the 5th. This track's called No More Crying. You're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox on KLOS. That was Sir George. Life on Mars from the album Life Aquatic. It's a good album. Every song on that soundtrack is him doing Bowie songs in Portuguese.
Didn't know about that one.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. It was kind of under the radar movie. It wasn't a big block. Well, he never does big blockbusters. Wes Anderson, but I love his movies. Then we had Steve Perry, No More Crying. That was good.
Thanks.
I say it again. You sound like Steve Perry.
God, I hope so. After all these years.
Yeah. I mean, I read stuff every now and again. A few years ago, like you lost your voice. Like,
I know.
is that just nonsense?
That's just nonsense. I mean, it's been going on forever because I was so silent. I never talked when I was in the band. I never did interviews. I had nothing to say. I know it was arrogant. I thought if my singing and the music wasn't great, what am I going to talk about? I'm going to make it better? No. So I'll let the music do the talking. And so I didn't do much interviews when I was in the band. And then after I disappeared, I certainly didn't do any. So that gave the open door for rumors to go.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what happened. My mother was very ill, and so I took her to Stanford, Palo Alto, to one of the only places we could get this high-def MRI of her brain because she had lots of neurological things happening to her. And we needed this particular unit to define her diagnosis. So people saw me sitting in the radiology high-def.
So they thought you
they
were
didn't
in there
see
for
my
you.
mother.
Yeah.
They saw me. So my grandfather literally calls me 2 days later crying, "Why didn't you tell me?" I tell you what, about your cancer. What are you talking about? I talked to Joe in Santa Clemente. He says, you got a throat cancer. I said, what are you talking about? He says, they saw you. I said, I took Mama there took Mama.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You know, it's like, so rumors were flying. Yeah.
And
Thank God that's not true.
Yeah. And that was how long ago was that?
Oh my goodness, seems like for another lifetime, bro. Seriously, like
Prior to all this nonsense that you're getting now.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's just
yeah.
insane.
Yeah. That was way before there was even an internet.
Yeah.
It was just rumor,
Yeah.
you know, which was probably worse. You
Was you brought up in San Francisco? You weren't
No,
you?
I was born and raised in a small agricultural town of Hanford, California, and went to high school in Lemoore, California, the adjacent city.
I thought you were born and raised in South Detroit.
You know, there is no South Detroit.
I know.
It's Canada. I've been getting flack for that for years. You know that. But I tell people who say that to me, especially people from Michigan, I say, okay, listen, I understand that. But, you know, East Detroit doesn't sing very well. North doesn't sing very well. West, not really. South sings really great. You know, and if you go north on the 75, right outside Detroit,
Yeah.
and go up for about 2 miles, and then go over the overpass to the left, and then go back on the on-ramp, it will say Detroit South.
Really?
Just saying. Anyway.
That's also South sounds better than
Sure.
North, West.
Of
What were you going to
course.
say?
Well, Bruce could get away with East, probably if he wanted to, because he can do a lot of East stuff.
Yeah.
But I wasn't working with the East.
Oh man! So you're from a farm town.
Yes, sir. Small.
Small.
Dairy town, yeah.
Did you used to sing there? When did you discover you had a voice?
I was a drummer singer all my whole life, and I was playing in a really tired club in that hometown of mine called the El Rancho, which we affectionately called the El Ranco.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this. When you walk into that club, there was a horrible red carpet that smelled like they had spilled wine on it forever. And when the women would show up at that club in the night, they'd wear this incredibly super sweet, horrible perfume. Well, the smell of wine and that carpet and cheap perfume.
It's in the song again.
It's in the song. That's where it came from. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
That's where the memory came from.
Well, I've definitely been in a few places like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you do know that one.
I don't think that's the only place.
Yeah.
And then, so what made you want to get into a band? You was playing drums.
I was a drummer singer and just kind of like Phil Collins or Don Henley. I just love playing drums and singing.
Can you still play?
Oh, yeah. My pocket's wicked.
I bet it is.
No chops, but I have a pocket.
You don't play on any records?
No, I did do some drum stuff on the record just to sort of like for fun, but I had better players than me to turn to.
Yeah.
You know, Josh Freese, and he played on he actually played on Nor Racing and Sunshine's Gray, which is a great rock track. Have you heard that one yet?
No.
Oh, you got to hear Sunshine's Gray. I think you'd like it. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if we got it.
I think you do have it. Yeah. Yeah.
Do we have it?
I don't know. Maybe not. No, it's not available till actually the 5th, which is Friday.
Okay.
Sorry. My bad.
It's okay. He is a great drummer, though, Josh.
Josh is amazing. And then Vinny Caludo and Steve Ferroni. He's on
Yeah.
it too. So no slouches on the record.
Yeah. I wouldn't expect anything less.
I love good pocket from drummers, though, man. I mean, I'm a
It's
hunger.
everything.
It's everything.
It's everything.
I
It really
know.
is.
You can have a great band and a terrible drummer, and you're in trouble.
Big
you can
time.
have a crappy band and a great drummer. You're going to be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Because if you don't have the pocket, people feel that.
Yeah.
If it's just out a bit, it's like you get bored with the song in
No
2
kidding.
seconds.
Bored
It's
with it all.
very important. But Journey was kind of from San Francisco, right?
Yeah, born and raised in San Francisco, Journey was. It was really formed around Neil Sean. Greg Rowley had started a band. He grabbed Neil, used to pick him up at high school. He was a young kid, brought him into Santana, and that's how he got into Santana. Was Greg Rowley knew he was talented, and brought him in, and then they became very close friends. And then when Greg left Santana, he brought Neil with him, and they started this band Journey with Ainsley and Ross Valerie on bass.
Yeah.
And then years later, after a couple of records, I was here in L.A., doing what I always did was playing your demos for people trying to get signed.
Yeah.
And my bass player in my band, Richard Michaels, unfortunately got killed in a car wreck the weekend just before we were about to be signed to Columbia Records, my band, and I thought, that's it. I'm just going to go home. You know, I'm finished with this. I'm not supposed to be doing this.
Yeah.
So Mom said, hang in there. Something will happen. I'm sorry about your friend, but it'll hang in. The next thing I know, Don Ellis, who was running Columbia at the time, calls me up and says, sorry to hear what happened to Richard, but I got this band called Journey, and they're looking to make a musical change. Would you be interested? I said, well, of course, because I used to see him at the Starwood.
Yeah.
And Neil would remember the Starwood? Yeah. And Neil would just, the band was amazing, but Neil was soaring over the whole city.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah. So I flew out to Denver, Colorado, and met him. I had met him once before years ago, though, so that was a little bit of a second meeting.
Yeah.
And we wrote Patiently together.
Yeah.
That first night.
It was a big shift from what he was doing to like pop almost, like love songs.
Well, yeah, they wanted to write more song-oriented stuff as opposed to what was basically, for the first two records, I would call it, fusion rock at the time, right?
Yeah.
Before prog existed, it was fusion.
Sure. And then I've seen some documentaries on YouTube, and there was a funny thing like, they're not sure about this until they went to the concerts and there's full of chicks there.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden it was okay.
Yeah, right.
That was funny. But there's some classics, man. There's some classic Journey songs there.
It was a good time for music. It really was.
Yeah.
You could write music, you could hit it hard, you could make it massive and bombastic and still have a song in it. And I think it would translate to something other than just a great song or just another rock band. It was sort of a marriage of songwriting and a good band.
Yeah. I don't know if I told you this at that party, but you did a show, outside show. It was somewhere near San Francisco.
Oh, it was one of the worst things I ever experienced in my life. It was when Bill Graham died.
Was it?
I think.
I was with Andy Taylor from Duran Duran, and we opened up for you. And I can't remember the name of the place. I knew it was somewhere.
It was Golden Gate Park, I think.
Was it?
I think, but I don't know.
It was like out in the sticks. It felt like it was out in the sticks. Anyway, I remember opening, and we were watching you guys. You had the black bass player.
Oh, that would be Randy Jackson. So that would have been a different show. Yeah, that's a different one. I'm trying to think where that was now. Yeah, that was the tour with Randy. He was so great. Yeah. He sang so well, played so well. He's an amazing musician. I know he's a very famous personality, an individual on his own now.
Yeah.
But he's really a bass player who sings his heart out.
Yeah. But I was standing at the side of the stage watching you guys. It was another good moment watching you guys perform, doing your thing.
Wish I knew you were there.
I hadn't seen you before, live. I didn't see you back in the day. That was too much to go and see you. I would have to wear a fake beard.
So just listening to the music you could get away with, but going would have been a bust.
Yeah.
Your mates would have just grilled you hard.
What are we going to do, Shove? We're playing another song from the album, Steve Perry's album, Traces, out this Friday. This is a track called
We're Still Here.
We're Still Here.
That's right.
And we are.
That's right.
Jonesy's Jukebox, KLOS. Take it away.
I'm producing.
He's taking over here now. Jonesy's Jukebox, KLOS with my guest Steve Perry. That was a Steve Perry song, brand new, from the album Traces, out this Friday, October 5th.
Yeah.
What was we saying?
We're talking about light bulbs and things.
Well, first we were talking about voices.
Yeah.
And how I'm not kissing your ass just because you're here, but you hit one note of you and you know it's you. And that's the key to great singers, I think.
Oh, thanks, man.
That you know who they are, But you really do have a great singing voice.
Oh, man. Where's my wallet?
Where's that bloody
wallet? Somebody
wallet?
get my wallet. I got to give him a couple of bucks.
I want to go to Hawaii.
First class? No problem.
No problem. But, it's great that you still sound good.
Thanks, man.
Very good.
Thank you.
And are you gonna go on the road?
I would like to. I mean, we're talking about that probably sometime at the end of this year once I finish all this promotion tour stuff and take a little break. We've been doing it for a while now. You know, I've been to London like we talked about, everywhere. So,
If you do go on the road,
Yeah.
and you stay in a hotel,
yes. Will I bring my light bulbs?
yeah, will you bring the light bulb?
People don't know that, but I used to bring light bulbs and a little bit of a nightlight for the bathroom because back then hotels didn't have them, and I couldn't find the bathroom at night because you're in a different room every night. You get up in the middle of the night, half awake, and run into the wall. But that was last night's bathroom. And so what I would do is bring the night lights. I would also bring colored light bulbs for the two lights by the bed so that when I walked in the room, it always had the same vibe, same color, something consistent. Because when you're touring, as you know, man, the inconsistency of a different city and a different day every day can get on your mind. It can eat you up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that back in the day?
Yeah.
You used to do that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Any other little quirks?
Any other little quirks
Yeah.
that I can talk about?
Oh, okay. Okay.
I will tell you. Oh, I shouldn't tell you that. I mean, how risque can we get on this show?
Well, as long as you're not, I mean, you know,
It's not me, but I will tell you, the drummer, God bless his soul, who played on my solo record.
it is live. Just
It is live.
Go on.
Okay. He said sometimes he missed his wife so much. Sometimes he would shave one leg.
Oh my.
I'll leave the imagination up to
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
The guys are laughing. Larry London, when he would tour, that's what he told me one time.
That's hilarious.
I know he played on my solo. He's a great drummer, though, a brilliant cat. It's funny, isn't it?
Oh man. Yeah. Did you like come to hate touring back in the day?
I think burnt out
Burnt out.
certainly is a big word that applies.
Too many shows.
Well, too many in a row. Never stopping. Just keep going. After a while, lack of sleep, you know, maybe misbehaving because you're burnt out, so you're partying a little bit too much. That catches up to you too. And you still have to show up and do some more shows.
Yeah.
Eventually, it accumulates to, I think, a big emotional deficit, and that's where I just crashed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course there's always the band. Always have the personalities. Everyone starts getting
Well,
resentments.
I'm glad
the
I'm-
usual stuff.
I'm glad you brought that up. Nobody has ever brought that up till just now. That's really true. The resentments that exist in bands. That's really good, Jonesy. The resentments are so big. I mean, it's the music that comes from all that.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's degradative. And it chews at everyone, and I think after a while, it plays a very big part in the demise of everything too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think if you talked about it at the time, everyone who's got their gripe, would that help? I don't just mean you. I mean any band.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah, go on then.
Okay, so
I didn't have any light bulbs. I used to shave me back.
I can't even get into that. I don't want to even touch that. But
Only half of the back.
oh God, the visuals are killing me right now. Stop. Okay,
I used to shave an S in the middle of it.
is this when you were watching me on the side of a stage? Yeah. Okay. All right. Oh my God, this is getting bad quick. What were we saying? I don't know.
No, about resentments.
talking.
If
Yeah.
you
Okay.
talk
So
about it.
let me ask you this
Yeah.
question. So when you were in the band,
Yeah.
were you guys like having these kind of touchy-feely conversations about feelings?
No, because we were like, I don't know, 20 years old, 21.
Well, we
I had no
weren't-
clue.
We weren't either.
Yeah. Well,
Nobody was going. So how you doing, Steve? You feel okay today?
My point.
How's your emotional stability? No.
Yeah. Let's all have therapy now
Yeah.
after the sound check.
That's right. That's right. Back then, you would show up tired, sound check, rock, and then leave, and then come back do the show,
Yeah.
and then split.
Yeah.
Nobody was talking about. So, how's your feelings today? About
Yeah.
1 to 10.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. But the resentments start not before you made it. That's the best time for me. I say this all the time. You know, before you've had the big success,
Right.
when you've written the great songs, you know, and then it's after that all the success comes, and that's when it all starts for whatever reasons.
Do you want to know what my feeling is? That no matter what is going on with the archetypes of the members of the band, if I looked closely at it, they were resonating something else from my childhood. Everybody played a part of something else that was unresolved. And all of a sudden, here we are rocking music, and we're kind of working this stuff out in real time in a different environment.
Yeah.
I've looked at it that way, and I've seen it underneath it all. And I think that was the same for everybody, though I don't know if they would admit it. I will admit it to you now.
Wow,
That was
interesting.
from my standpoint.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that everybody gets eventually an opportunity to work that out one way or another. All relationships are like this.
Sure.
You break up with somebody and you go find somebody else. You open up the suitcase. Where was I with that last relationship? Let's pick up where I left off.
Yeah.
New person, but same troubles.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So that's kind of the... I think that was always running underneath it all.
Yeah.
Those old resentments is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
We're actually running with new resentments.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
hard to, you got to do a lot of work. I know you know, you're sober, you know, you have to do a lot of work. And you do start, you know, stuff comes up, man, all the time, you know, and either you run from it or you walk through it and deal with it. And that's the hardest part for me, you know. But I'll be 28 years sober this month.
Everybody wants to run, don't we? I mean,
I'm a runner, naturally.
Well, if you're a musician, you're a runner for sure.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we do.
Guitar players.
And well, they're the worst, of course.
Yeah.
But anyway, but I mean, the idea of getting on a bus and going from one city to the next and not stopping is in line with running. It's really beautiful because you're always rocking and rolling, and you're rocking and you're rolling to the next city. It really comes with what I think we like to do, which is to just keep moving.
Yeah.
You know, but life catches up to all of us
That's
eventually.
it. That's it.
I'm sorry.
That's it.
You know.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. But well, listen, man, we're gonna knock it on the head.
Okay.
Thanks for coming by.
My pleasure, my friend. My pleasure.
That was great, Steve. Really appreciate it. We're gonna visit the Duke.
We are. New album come out Friday.
Yep, the new album by Steve Perry, Traces, out this Friday, October 5th. We're gonna visit the Duke, and we'll see you later. See you in a
Bye.
minute.
Cheers.